Hello again, and welcome to today's webinar on student internships and other opportunities. We are very excited that you created the time to join us today. My name is Dr. Mercy Mugo. I am the Executive Director at the Quality Education for Minorities Network, QEM. We are one of the partners on the AAAS STEM Resource and Evaluation Center, or what is known as REC in short. We have a phenomenal lineup of speakers today who will be sharing with us about their internship programs. I want to thank specifically Alexander, Debbie, and Patricia for participating, and we look forward to hearing about the range of opportunities that are available at your organizations. Before we begin, I want to go through some quick logistics. First, closed captioning is available for anyone who would like to use that function. You can enable it in the menu on your screen. The webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be made available on the AAAS website. The slides that we are using today have already been posted on the website and can be downloaded through a link that my colleague Tara will add on the chat. We encourage you to ask any questions that you have throughout the webinar. Please use the Q&A box that is provided to post any questions that you have for the panelists. We'll open up the floor for Q&A at the end of the presentations. Upvoting has been enabled so that you can upvote any submitted questions that you would like to hear the answers to as well. The chat is also available for you to introduce yourself, interact with each other, and share any information that you may have related to today's topic. At the end of the webinar, a short survey, a pop-up link to a short survey will appear. We request that you please take a few minutes to provide us with feedback about this event. We value your suggestions as they help us improve future offerings to support your work. Next slide, please. Here is the overview of our agenda. For the next hour, we will start with providing a very brief background of the AAAS STEM REC. We'll also review the objectives of today's webinar. Then we'll hear from our panelists who will be sharing about their internship programs, followed by a Q&A session. And finally, we'll learn about some additional resources that are connected to today's topic and upcoming events that the REC has planned. Next slide, please. So the REC was funded by the National Science Foundation to create a greater infrastructure, build a community of like-minded individuals and organizations, coordinate work, and synthesize findings across the over 600 active STEM awards. The REC promotes the exchange of ideas, resources, opportunities, and knowledge about effective strategies and practices to increase the number of talented, low-income students who obtain STEM degrees and enter the STEM workforce. You can move to the next slide, Hassan. These are the partners on the STEM REC. AAAS is the lead organization, and they work closely with 4 other partners who contribute to key aspects of the work. First, we have MN Associates, who are providing evaluation technical assistance support to both current and prospective STEM awardees. Then we have the American Institutes for Research, who are reviewing the impact of the STEM program at the national scale. We have QEM, who are providing support and connections to institutions that are underrepresented in the STEM network. And last but not least, we have the University of Washington's Center for Evaluation and Research for STEM Equity, who serves as the project's external evaluation team. Next slide, please. So the goal of the webinar today is to provide you with information on a range of internship opportunities, the application process, as well as some eligibility criteria that students need to meet in order to be successful and be able to be accepted in these internship programs. And finally, we also want to share some additional opportunities for you all as educators that are available at the institutions that are represented at today's panel. Next slide, please. At this point, I invite my colleague, Dr. Taylor Leitner, who introduced our panelists and help facilitate today's conversation. Taylor.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Mugo. So I have the pleasure of introducing our amazing panelists. So I'll start with Alexander Godinez Robertson, who graduated from the University of California, Santa Barbara in June of 2015, receiving a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, which focused on international relations and comparative politics. At the end of this fellowship, he was hired into the Office of Management and Budgets, Learning and Career Management, and worked his way up the NGFP Operations Manager and Strategic Advisor, Deputy Federal Program Manager, and now serves as the Federal Program Manager for NGFP. Then we will hear from Deborah Hackett, who received her master's and bachelor's degrees in business administration from Marshall University. She currently serves as a senior human resource specialist on the outreach and targeted recruitment team at the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. And then we'll hear from Patricia O'Sullivan, who holds a Bachelor's of Arts in Communications from UMass Amherst, and an MA in Theology from Assumption College, an MA in History from the University of Mississippi, and certificate programs in Instructional Design and Storytelling for Social Impact from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and Georgetown University. She joined the Every Learner Everywhere team in September 2020. In her role as Manager of Content Development and Special Projects, she works within a network and with institutions to develop, update, and curate digital resources. Thank you. So first we'll hear from Alexander Godinez.
Hi, thank you very much for the introduction. It's great to be able to speak with you all today. I'm Alexander Godinez. I'm a federal program manager with the National Nuclear Security Administration. I oversee our NNSA Graduate Fellowship Program and had the privilege of starting the Minority Serving Institutions Internship Program a couple of years ago for the agency. Next slide, please. So the NNSA is a semi-autonomous agency within the U.S. Department of Energy, and it applies technical capabilities to national security challenges, leading the science and technology, people and infrastructure, and management operations to maintain nuclear security. So we have four main pillars at NNSA. That's maintaining the nuclear stockpile, ensuring nuclear nonproliferation, counterterrorism, counterproliferation, and oversight and change. Next slide. So where does MSIP, is what we call it, MSIP or MSIP fit in? MSIP supports the NNSA's mission priority to strengthen those key science, technology, and engineering capabilities, while also enhancing its career and leadership pipeline. MSIP offers students from minority serving institutions positions across the nuclear security enterprise. So that's our national labs, plants, and sites, and headquarters across the country. Through MSIP, ORISE, who I'll speak to in a second, and NNSA are committed to building an inclusive, engaged, and highly skilled and diverse workforce. We had 96 interns join us last year, and I believe 85% of them listed as from a minority background. So we're really happy to have had that many folks join us last year. Next slide. ORISE is the Oak Ridge Institute for Science and Education. So they're a Department of Energy asset. They administer the program on our behalf. Next slide. So the program management, so I serve as a federal program manager. I direct and manage all aspects of MSIP and direct our outreach and recruitment efforts. Our ORISE team administer the program on our behalf. So they handle all of the application and review process, and participant activities, processing payments, travel arrangements. Then our third component are our host facilities. So our lab, plant, site, points of contact, and mentors who provide that day-to-day oversight of the intern support of their project. Next slide. So one important thing to note about our interns, we do not hire them as employees during their appointment. They receive guest appointment status. and so therefore do not enter any type of employee-employer relationship with ORISE or NNSA. So while they don't get employee-related benefits, we do have other benefits such as some time off and other benefits that will be helpful for them throughout their appointment. So students are prohibited from formally representing the federal government and cannot perform inherently governmental functions. Next slide. So our structure, as I mentioned, interns are placed at not only our NNSA labs, but at our DOE labs as well, our plants and site offices around the country. We have a couple different internship options. They can be selected for a summer only. So that's 12 weeks full-time during summer, and or they'll get a year-long offer. So it would be full-time during summer and then part-time and virtual during the academic year. So we expect them to go back and they can still support their projects while they're in school. They do have the option to transition from summer to year-long if their mentor and them both agree and want to continue. And then they can continue to apply and be selected as long as they are enrolled at a minority serving institution. We're very flexible in our appointments. We offer in-person, hybrid, and virtual based on the site, based on the mentor. Typically, our mentors are very flexible with the appointment type. Next slide. To be eligible, they must attend a minority serving institution. They must have and maintain a 3.0 GPA, be 18 years of age or older by the appointment start date, be a US citizen at the time of application, and be able to commit to the duration of the appointment. Now the key thing here is it is open to all academic backgrounds. So while NNSA may seem like a very scientific, technical agency, we are open to everyone. We've had music majors, art majors, all the way to the nuclear engineering side and everything in between. We have found projects for them to be able to support. Next slide. So we have our expectations for interns. They're pretty straightforward. I won't go through all of them for time, but the big one is this is a learning opportunity for our interns. So we want them to learn, grow, and have fun. We understand that they're not going to be experts in their field, and our mentors understand that as well. So our mentors develop a project description with learning objectives for them to meet while they're participating in the internship. Next slide. Our program benefits. So we offer some pretty good benefits to our interns. So if they're an undergraduate student during summer, they'll receive $750 per week. Based on full-time participation, it gets prorated during the academic year. Graduate students receive $950 per week. Additional supplements that we have during summer only, if they are an in-person or hybrid intern and they relocate, we provide a round trip up to $1,000 for them to relocate. And we also provide housing supplements based on the location. So if they get an internship at Livermore Lab or here in DC, we will pay for their rent during summer if they have to move. So the amount of stipend that they'll receive depends on the location that they're at. But we do, that is a big benefit that we offer our interns. They'll also receive a commuting supplement, $50 per week. And if they're virtual, they'll receive a $150 stipend to offset that cost of virtual participation. And this is on top of their weekly stipend that they already receive. Interns also have a dedicated travel and training budget. So if they're a summer intern, they get a $5,000 travel and training budget to support their office, and year-long will receive $10,000. Next slide. Our timeline, our applications opened on August 1st and close on Sunday night. We go through a candidate review process, so all of our mentors will have access to every eligible application, and they'll have from October 30th to December 8th to review those applications, interview, and make selections. I will send out notifications of acceptance by January 10th. And we typically have one or two more rounds of selections from January to March timeframe. Between March and May, we go through all the onboarding stuff, assist in providing some housing guidance, set up travel, and make sure that they have all of their onboarding requirements completed. The internship begins on June 3rd, and it does start with a week-long orientation in Washington, DC. Our summer interns end August 23rd, and our year-long will end the following May. Next slide. So I mentioned earlier we had 96 interns this past summer, and I believe 55% of them continued on for the year. So we've had interns at quite a few of our national labs, plant sites across the country, and this kind of shows a breakdown of where they're at. Most of our interns do go to our headquarters in DC. You can see Livermore has had quite a few interns this summer. So we're trying to get the numbers up at all of the rest of our locations as well. Next slide. Here's our map of our NNSA lab and plant site office locations. And on the next slide, we have a map of our DOE as well. We can go to the next slide. So we do have interns at some of our DOE labs as well, depending on the work scope that they have that supports NNSA's mission priorities. Next slide. This was a great picture of our cohort from last summer in Washington, DC. It was our first in-person event that we were able to have with the program since we've come out of COVID. So we're really excited to have 96 of them all at their orientation in Washington. Next slide. So here is, there's a QR code there that will take you to the website, but our website is listed as well on there. Interns can apply through the website. It'll take them to our application portal, Zintellect, so they can submit their applications. Next slide. I think that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Great. Thank you so much, Alexander, for that amazing information. We'll be able to ask more questions. Next, we'll have Deborah Hackett.
Good afternoon. Thanks so much. I'm happy to join you today to share a brief overview of the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission and answer some questions about our student programs. Well, I want to go work for the NNSA, which is the bottom line right now. Great job, Alexander. But just a little bit then about the NRC. So our mission is to ensure the safe use of radioactive materials for beneficial civilian purposes while protecting people and the environment. And our positions at the agency are filled primarily by engineers and scientists, and our staff are located at our headquarters or regional offices, our technical training center, or at one of the operating nuclear power plants that we regulate. Next slide, please. So there's just a quick snapshot of where our locations are. Our headquarters building is in Rockville, Maryland, just outside Washington, DC. Our commissioners and their staff are located there, along with our executive director and our larger program offices. And then we have the 4 regional offices, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas area, who are responsible for overseeing the safe operation of nuclear facilities within their respective regions. And we then have a technical training center in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Next slide. So we view our summer interns as an essential part of our entry-level pipeline. We had 74 students on board with us last summer, and we offer paid internships open to all majors. They do come on board as NRC employees on temporary appointments, not to exceed 89 calendar days. The majority of the internships are located at our headquarters location in Rockville, but we normally have a handful at each of the regional offices, primarily focused on engineering and science. The internships are paid. The hourly rate is based on the student's major. Engineering and science majors have a higher salary range than our non-engineering and science students. And the hourly rate is also based on the numbers of hours that they've completed towards their degree and the location of the internship. And we do have students that are at all different levels, bachelor's, master's, and doctoral programs that they're working on. They join us in May on 89-day appointments, and they are expected to report to work at the office. Our agency stance right now is 2 days a week in person in the office. And a lot of supervisors prefer to have the students sort of start more of a full-time basis until they make sure that they feel supported and acclimated. We also offer some supplementary activities. We have a fantastic group called Embrace NRC that puts together different presentations, both sort of about the workload that we have at the agency, but also an opportunity for them to do some fun things and get together and network throughout the summer. We also offer a student transportation and lodging program for students who do have to relocate from outside of the area to the location of the internship. And that provides reimbursement for their transportation at the beginning of the internship and then back home. And then we offer a stipend to help offset the cost of their temporary housing. Last summer, it was $70 a night, up to $70 a night. And based on budget, we do expect that to be the case as well this summer. So at the end of the internships, we do ask the supervisors about converting the students into the co-op program. And we have typically the last several years, we've had about 60% of the interns come into convert over to the co-op program. Next slide, please. So criteria for our program, U.S. citizenship, because all of our staff do require security clearance prior to establishing the start date. We are looking for a cumulative GPA of 2.85 or higher. That security clearance does include fingerprinting and a random drug screen. And we're looking for the students to have at least completed 30 hours toward their degree, and an OPM standard that the engineering program has to be accredited by ABET. Our vacancy announcement is open right now. It closes on October the 30th. So we would love it if you would encourage your students to apply. Next slide, please. I put in a little bit of information as well about entry-level opportunities. I was just going to highlight today. We have a program for students who are graduating this year. It's called the Nuclear Regulator Apprenticeship Network, or NRAN. This is the third cohort that we're recruiting for. We recruit every other year. And it's a full-time 18-month training program, small cohort size of 25 for engineers and scientists. And basically, they start out at the agency in a 12-week training focus. And then over the next 15 months, they do 3 5-month apprenticeships in different parts of the agency. Typically, at least one of those would be out at one of our regional offices to get some more hands-on experience with oversight activities. And then at the end, based on a matchmaking opportunity, then they're reassigned into a position to continue growing and career development there. So next slide, please. So similar, U.S. citizenship required. We have a little higher GPA for this program, 2.95 or higher. Same general criteria. Now these positions, our entry-level positions, are structured with what we call a career ladder, promotion potential built in to grade 13. So assuming they're performing well, then there's definitely a promotion opportunity built in every year. And it's nice that they can sort of plan on that as far as, some financial stability. This vacancy announcement for the 2024 NRAN cohort is also currently open on USA Jobs and closes October 30th. Next slide, please. And then we have other entry-level opportunities at the agency. Project managers, project engineers, technical reviewers, reliability and risk, people that perhaps are pursuing advanced degrees that know specifically what they want to go into. They are not looking for that sort of rotate around and learn more for broadening. They're ready to go. So this vacancy that we have is also open right now for in all offices. We serve it, use it as a resume repository as vacancies come open. And we are hosting an information session tomorrow at 11 a.m. just to talk a little bit more about the NRAN program and entry-level opportunities. So we would love it if we could get some more participation for that. There's a registration link on, it's on USA Jobs. It's in the events section, and the link to that is posted in the slides as well. And that next slide. I put a few tips for success because I know that that was one of the things that we were hoping to speak to. Please ask your students to submit. Don't wait until the last day to submit the application, because sometimes USA Jobs is tricky and might go down for unexpected maintenance. So that's always disheartening to hear that someone was trying to apply at 11:30 p.m. when everything closes at midnight, and they were unable to get their application in. So apply before the due date. And then just some tips on resumes as we're doing resume review. It's in, they should include just basic stuff. Sometimes they're younger in their education and maybe they need some help with their resume. But where they're going to school, what their major is, when they project that they're going to be graduating, what's their GPA, those types of things that really help as you're screening, to have that information and not have to sort of, circle back to look at that. And then same thing, if there's required documentation in the vacancy announcement, they need to make sure that they provide that. So if we're requesting a transcript that includes, all of the courses that they've taken and their grades, if they just upload a snippet of what they're currently taking this semester, they're going to get screened out because they haven't provided, the information that we need to be able to confirm eligibility. And then if they have supplemental information for a special hiring authority, please, reinforce they should upload that as well, because that's important that they have a complete package that they're submitting. So that was it for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Deborah. We see we have a lot of questions that came through while you were talking, but we'll be sure to revisit those after our final panelist goes. So up next, we'll hear from Patricia.
Thank you, Taylor. I am honored to represent every learner everywhere at this webinar event. Next slide, please, Hassan. So I just want to tell you a little bit about our organization, which is very different from the previous two. We are not a government agency, and we are not specifically STEM related. Every Learner Everywhere is a network of organizations that advocates for equitable outcomes in U.S. higher education through advances in digital learning. We work with institutions and faculty to help faculty choose and implement digital learning tools equitably and at scale, with the goal of better student experience, particularly for Black, Latino, Indigenous, and poverty-affected students. Next slide, please. So we've been working with undergrad student interns since the spring of 2021. In that time, we've taken on 34 student interns for our own organization and managed an additional 7 interns for partner organizations, including Course Gateway, which is a division of EDUCAUSE, WCET, which is a division of the Western Interstate Commission for Higher Education, and the State Authorization Network, which is a division of WCET. And Every Learner Everywhere is also a division of WCET. So on this slide, you can see some of our recent and current student interns. Next slide, please. So what we think makes our internship unique is that it is remote, it is part-time, and it is paid. Although I do want to call out the 2 previous presenters who also paid their interns. We think that's really important. We feel strongly about organizing our internship experience in these ways, as it allows us to reach a diverse population of students. It allows students who are not in a position to take time off from school or relocate or support themselves while doing unpaid work. We just don't, at Every Learner, we just don't believe in unpaid labor. Next slide, please. So another aspect of our internship that's less unique but still essential is that it's a cohort of students. We're trying to build a community of students who collaborate with each other and who support each other. The platform on which they've mainly been connecting is LinkedIn. And we do encourage that in our interns. When they start with us, if they don't already have a LinkedIn profile, we help them build one. But we also contact former interns directly when opportunities come our way and we think they would be a good match for it. And these are always paid opportunities. And a good example of this is student panels and presentations at educational technology conferences. We might contact former interns to form a panel and we pay them for those appearances. Next slide, please. So I just want to talk a little bit about our qualifications for interns, and mainly because the others had such great presentations on it, but we don't limit our internship opportunities to US citizens only, but we do ask that they live in North America. They are currently located in North America. Just from a time zone perspective, that's just easier for us. We also require them to be undergraduate students currently enrolled in college at the time of the internship. Their availability has to match our availability, and their experience is important. So we're looking for students who have experience with digital learning, who are willing to speak about digital learning and willing to learn about digital learning. So we don't have a GPA requirement. We don't have requirements that students be minority students specifically, but we do recruit at HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, at Hispanic serving institutions, and at tribal colleges and universities. So we're really trying to put together cohorts of students who complement each other, who can collaborate with each other and work together, and really build a team of students, if you will. So that's really important because our internship is remote. And I did notice in the comments that some of the people in the audience were concerned about the isolation of students in remote internships. So we recognize that, and we work really hard to make sure that we're building community with our interns. And that is my short presentation. I welcome questions from the audience, but just this slide helps you connect with us. Anyone who would like to learn more about our internship program can contact me directly, or you can go to our website. My contact information is on the website, and there's also a specific link you see on the slide here to the page that explains everything about the internship program. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much, Patricia. So lastly, we'll hear back from Dr. Mercy Lugo, and she'll share some more opportunities for you.
Thank you, Taylor. And thanks to our panelists for that insightful information. So I just wanted to let everyone know that QEM also runs an internship program. Our internship program is known as the Talent Development and Innovation in Science, TDIS. And every summer we place students at the National Science Foundation, where they are paired with mentors that are in alignment with their disciplines as well as their research interests to work on science policy related projects. Our program accepts both undergraduate and graduate students. They have to be STEM majors, and by STEM major we mean any disciplines that NSF identifies as STEM, and that include the social sciences. They must be US citizens. And by the time of the internship, they must be at least rising sophomores. And if they are graduating seniors, they must provide proof of acceptance to a graduate program in the fall of following the internship. This is a 10-week program. We provide stipends of $6,000 to undergraduates and $7,000 to graduate students. Every student also qualifies for an additional $1,200 toward their professional development. They can use these funds for a range of activities. It can cover their travel to conferences. It can pay for their membership to professional societies or conferences. It can cover software subscription for something that is related to the academics or their research. And also they can take a short training that is relevant to their work. These funds are available for students to use while they are at the internship program during the summer, as well as over the academic year. So they have up to 1 year to use these funds from the time they start the internship with us. Another aspect of our program is that every student is required to identify a campus mentor during the application process. And this is a person who can be, their research mentor or a faculty member at the institution who is supposed to provide guidance and support to the students while they are at the internship program. And the idea is that you want that connection with the home institution and somebody who can also guide them on identifying professional development opportunities that are relevant to the students' scholarly development. And we provide a honorarium of $2,000 to the campus mentor to support the student during the summer. Our internship program, we've done a range of a mix of things in the past. Before COVID, they used to be in person. Then during COVID, we did virtual. And last year, we did a hybrid where the interns came to the orientation week at DC for 1 week. Then they went back to their home institution or wherever they were staying, did the internship during the virtually for 8 weeks, and then came back the last week to NSF to present their summer findings. So we are very flexible in understanding and accommodating different students' needs, and moving forward, even for next year, we are hoping that we can continue with the same flexibility. And also it depends with the availability of the mentor. So if the mentors are working from home, then we cannot bring the student to NSF. But if the mentor is available in the office and both the mentor and the students feels like it will be good for the student to come to NSF, then we bring the student to NSF, we pay for their housing, their lodging, and their transportation. This application is currently open, and the deadline for submission is January 19. We please ask you to encourage your students to apply. The link on this flyer is clickable, and I can also put another link on the chat where you can access that information. And selected students will be notified by the week of March 11th about their participation. Next slide, please. So thanks, Taylor, for the opportunity again to share about our internship program. I will pass the mic back to you to moderate the Q&A session.
Thank you for all the amazing panelists that shared these amazing opportunities for students and for those that are interested in connecting their students opportunities. So I will say we now have 15 minutes for an open Q&A. We would like for you to please drop your questions in the chat and we'll move them up. But I'll start with Nina's amazing question to start us off. She spoke about the isolating nature, and I saw that a lot of the panelists, Patricia and Mercy, responded to it, but I want to also give Alexander and Deborah the opportunity to respond as well, of discussing that 2 days or a week in person seems pretty isolating. Do some of the interns ever choose to do more days in person?
Yep. So this is Debbie. I'll respond to that. So that's the minimum expectation in the office. We don't, aside from the couple of years when we were in the pandemic, that those were remote, but we don't have remote internship opportunities during the summer. So the expectation is that they're in the office. Some students choose to work every day in the office. Some, if they're living at home, they may have, not want to deal with the traffic, perhaps, the commute in the DC area. So it's flexible based on that discussion between the supervisor and the intern. Now, I will just say, if they do convert to our co-op program during the academic year, then those work periods are virtual from campus, because they'll drop down to a part-time status.
I can answer as well. I would say most of our interns end up being at least hybrid or in person. The ones that are remote typically are the ones that kind of request to be remote, and generally the mentors are are okay with it. But when it's kind of the same thing as the NRC, that during the academic year, they'll go back to virtual, remote from their academic institutions.
Great, thank you. Also, Patricia and Marcy, was there anything that you would like to add to the discussion of isolation?
Sure. I think the remote work can be isolating, but I also feel like that's why we also don't take the students out of their home institutions. So they've got that community. And like I said in my presentation, we really try to work hard to build community on LinkedIn with them and their former interns, but also with the current interns. But I understand the concerns. From an equity perspective, we really had to weigh the cost to the students and to us for in-person versus the remote opportunities. And we just felt like the remote opportunity allowed us to be more equitable in who we hired.
That also gives us a perfect transition for a follow-up for you, Debbie. Nina asks, does your program have an explicit equity focus?
That's a great question. We have a lot of outreach, very focused outreach that we do. We have a university champions program. We have a strong partnership with our Office of Small Business and Civil Rights, where we're focusing on minority serving institutions. And in fact, we do have a minority institutions grant program that offers scholarships to students in the STEM fields. So, as a federal agency, we do, when we post our jobs, we do need to follow veterans preference and things like that. So we have a variety of things that we're balancing, but we do a lot of outreach to minority serving institutions. And there's another question I see in the chat regarding permanent residents. Unfortunately, that we do need our staff to be US citizens.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Thank you so much, Debbie. For all panelists, are these internship opportunities open to permanent residents?
For QEM, because they have to have clearance to work at a federal agency, they have to be US citizens because they work at NSF.
I'll just speak for every learner. Just that question in the chat. Our internship is open to all majors, not just STEM majors. And yeah, I don't think that next question is for us, but every learner has 3 terms per year that we have interns. We have a spring session that's 12 weeks, a fall session that's 12 weeks, and the summer session that's 10 weeks.
The next question I will ask from Kyra, that's it, right? Gandara, will we be able to present our research in these internships at conferences, or are they confidential?
I can say for our TDIS, we actually encourage students to present in conferences. And one of the things we've experienced over the past years is that during the summer, we've seen a couple of students travel to conferences with their mentors at NSF to present the findings of their research projects. Yes, so there may be some confidential information that they may not be able to share publicly depending on what the project is about, but for the most part, anything that can be publicly shared, they do present those at conferences.
Perfect. What about the other panelists? Will they be able to present that? Sorry.
So this is Debbie. For the NRC, that's a good question. I don't know that I've ever. I'm going to say that that would not be typical. unless the student intern continued on as a co-op, and it was a presentation that was supported through the NRC management approval to go and give a presentation or be part of, official part of like official duty at a conference. So I think due to the nature of the work, we do have presentations that occur within the agency at the end, sort of as a capstone for the program. But as far as taking that work and sharing it sort of personally, externally, I think that would be unusual.
Yeah, this is Patty for Every Learner. Our interns, we actually expect them to present their research, although we're not doing national security level research at Every Learner. Yeah, we have sent students to conferences, face-to-face conferences. We do a lot of virtual conferences with students. We design our projects for publication, and so the students will get that research or authoring credit on the publications, and then usually at that point, our partner organizations ask the students to present to them on that research. So we really like the idea that we're providing that professional preparation for them. We also do workshops with our students to help them, how do you give a good interview? How do you interview? How do you present? So we don't just throw them to the wolves. We really do try to prepare them for these presentations.
For MSIP, all of our projects have to be unclassified. Our interns do not get security clearances, so most of the work can be presented as long as their supervisor is okay with it.
Great. I think the next question from Younger Kim might be directed towards Mercy. Is the in-person orientation in early June required for both summer and year-long interns?
So the summer, the orientation for the first week, every intern is required to participate, but we had a situation last year where one student could not participate in person, and so they joined the orientation virtually. So while it's mandatory, we have flexibility in allowing students who cannot come in person to join virtually. I also see a question about what are the typical candidates like for TDIS? Yes, that's a great question. So on our application, we do say that we look for students who are interested in science policy. And so it depends with student interest, but we've seen students in all disciplines, in all STEM disciplines, as well as the social sciences. And in our internship, we aim to develop their leadership skills, their awareness of policies and legislation that have an impact on STEM education. And so when we organize our PDs, we make sure that we're organizing PDs that are relevant to, science policy, and just exposing students to various opportunities, especially those that advocate for groups that are represented in STEM, to broaden their participation. So it depends with student interest. We don't have like a requirement like they must have experience in science policy. It depends with their interest. And once they apply, then we connect them with mentors at NSF and projects that focused on science policy. Oh, it looks like Taylor dropped, so we can continue with the conversation. I think we've answered all the questions in the chat. Oh, there's a question about specific research areas posted on your respective program website so that applicant can view this information.
So this is Debbie. I can answer for the NRC. So when we post our vacancy announcement, we post it open to all majors and degree levels across the agency, and we ask them to select like 2 locations. And so we also then at the same time, we're pulsing our different program offices and regional offices to ask them which internship opportunities that they want to offer. So the vacancy announcement does not include the specific list of internships that we plan to fill. Instead, we're asking them to identify, more the types of areas that they're interested in working in. And, our agency is not, we're not lab based like the DOE national labs might be. So what we're doing is the interns are actually placed in the first line supervisory groups. Our staff may have 8 to 12, people at a branch level, and they're, joining in on projects of actual work that's going on at the time. So they might be helping to support preparations for a public meeting, focusing on project management, or perhaps they're doing a portion of a technical review of a license amendment that's come in. Or maybe they're an IT major and working on redesigning a SharePoint portal. So it just depends on the projects that are being offered and aligned with their majors and the location that they've selected. So it's a bit of a match make as we get ready to place those interns to line them up with the internship opportunities.
Thank you, Debbie. And that's the same for us. Like we are open to all instances from all disciplines, and sometimes the selection also depends with the availability of NSF mentors and from what disciplines and directorates and departments they are coming from. And I see, Pat, you were adding some information on the chat about where you post some of your student presentations and information. Thank you. Right. There was one question that I had, and this was mainly to Pat. I know we had a conversation about this, but can you talk a little bit about how your internship benefit both the organization and the intern? Just a little bit, maybe for a minute or so.
I can go ahead and start, Mercy. Thank you. So our organization benefits from students mainly in that we really rely on students to help us understand their experience. We consider them experts of their own college experience, and we think it's really important to talk to students about their experience with digital learning, because our job is to help faculty use digital learning in ways that are equitable and ways that are effective in student learning. And we can't do that if we don't know what the student's experience is. So that's how we benefit from our students. But of course, they're also working on projects for us. But what the students gain is professional experience, including working on these projects that are public facing. We give students research acknowledgements, writing acknowledgements. Students are introduced to a network of student intern alumni and other professionals who work in digital technologies and higher education. And then we offer them a monthly stipend. I put this in the chat too, but $1,000 for 10 hours of work per week. Some of that work, about 2 hours of that 10 hours, is required meetings with us and with our partners, and some professional development opportunities for the students. But the rest of it they are doing on their own or in collaboration with each other. So it's we try to be as flexible as possible to accommodate the student schedule.
Thank you, Pat. There's a question on the chat. Do these internships have robotics opportunities? For the QEM one, we do not. but I don't know whether others have robotics opportunities.
The NRC would not have robotics opportunities. And you want me to answer the question about this, what do students gain and what do we gain?
Yeah, maybe for 1 minute, because maybe 30 seconds, so we don't go over time. Thank you.
I mentioned this when I kicked off my presentation, but we just see it as such, these internships as such a win-win. It gives the student an opportunity to learn what we do and to see if this is work that excites them. At a minimum, it puts a nice solid, internship on their resume, but the goal would be to convert them into the co-op program and then into an entry-level opportunity. So I really love this program. It's a joy to work with these students.
Thank you, Debbie. We have 2 minutes left, so we can proceed. I don't see any other questions. We can proceed to the next item on the agenda. Thank you so much to our panelists for sharing such insightful information, and also for our participants for one participating and also asking such engaging questions. So on this slide, we have some additional resources. The first link is a compilation of more than 8 internship opportunities that were shared by a panel on student opportunities that presented at the in-person Scholars Conference last month. Then the second resource is a link to the US Food and Drug Administration internship program. Please check this out and share them with your students as they will expand their internship horizons. Next slide, please. We also are very excited to have a coffee and conversation coming up that is focused on STEM students. This will happen on November 10th from 3 to 4 p.m. This is an informal space where we will have the student further explore their perceptions and experiences as scientists. We'll share more details about how students can register for this coffee and conversation next week. So be on the lookout for this information. While we'll be sharing this information with the students on our database, we need your support spreading the word. Next slide, please. Like I had mentioned at the beginning, here is the link to a very short survey that help us gather your feedback and thoughts about today's events. Please take a few minutes to complete the survey using the link that Tara has shared on the chat. You can also use the QR code that is on the screen, but we value your feedback and it will help us improve future events. Again, you can move to the next slide, Hassan. I want to thank everyone again for coming, to our panelists and to all of you who have attended today's webinar, and we hope to see you at future AAAS REC events. Let's keep in touch through our various platforms. You can connect with us through X and LinkedIn, and you can also access more information and resources on our website at AAAS REC. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.